Giuseppe Gan Giuseppe Ganzi, Talk Recovery Radio, and Darren Galler. Giuseppe, I mean, we said this earlier that he is an inspiration for myself of watching him from afar over the years, participating in so many events that they have done, total ally of everything he stands behind. And Darren, of course, what you guys do at Talk Radio, you guys have been doing this stuff well before, as I said, I even knew what a podcast was. Um, but Giuseppe is a director of community development at Last Door Society. He is also board chair at Recovery Day BC, and of course, a co-host. See, look at. See, now I'm not lying. Now you all know from the US, you're thinking 22,000 people showing up for recovery. Fuck you, Suzanne. I'm like, yeah, there it is right there. So,
Voila, yeah.
yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have said fuck you. I love you all. Anyways, welcome, you too.
Well,
Here.
awesome. Thank you for having us. Hey, Darren. Hey, Brooke.
Hey, guys.
Suzanne.
Hey.
Yeah, this is awesome. Like, I mean, what a great hashtag. What a great idea. I just want to like say, you know, a big shout out to the people. Like, we talk a lot about people like down and out. They need to help. It's obvious. But there's so many people that just need a little nudge, need a little inspiration, you know, might not, you know, need to go treatment and do all of that, that just, and these little one-day events, man, like such a great little influence, a great idea.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're blown away. I can't believe what's happening, honestly. And yeah, like Suzanne said, we're really inspired by what you do, especially Giuseppe with recovery days and stuff. And we'd love to get the word out about that. And what do you guys have planned for this year with well, actually, let's start with introductions first, and then we'll get into what I want to know.
All right, sure.
Yeah, we always are futurizing us, you know, people in recovery. It's always what's happening tomorrow. We're into today, so.
Darren, go ahead, go first.
Introducing myself. Well, I'm Darren Galler. I am a co-host of Talk Recovery Radio. We started a radio show 7 years ago on Vancouver Co-op Radio, 100.5 FM. And we've been talking to professionals and you know, people in recovery and their personal stories and authors and like just the gamut of solutions out there and people under this, you know, umbrella of just, you know, like just making change in their life, wanting to be a little bit better. And so, I mean, I've been inspired by it. I used to work in treatment myself. 5 years ago, I became a stay-at-home dad and stayed with Giuseppe because the show means everything to me. And I've been honored to be able to MC Recovery Day. Yeah, I think
for how long, Darren? Yeah, long
since
time.
It began when it was like 100 people downtown Vancouver. You know, we had our signs and you know, comedians and people playing music and just trying to spread the word. So to see it like just behind Giuseppe, like how it became something like that, where it involved a whole community, like even if you weren't going there and you just like you heard the noise and you pop by, like, you know, what's going on here, that question, like what's happening here, like that's a big deal because there's like thousands, tens of thousands of people maybe loaded in recovery, checking it out, family members. Like what a great gathering. What's just something to be a part of. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
Just Giuseppe, you got to take it over. Now you guys understand why we're closing the show with these two, right? Okay. I'm just saying that right now.
I do a couple of things. Just
a little bit. Just
a little bit. Yeah. It's been a really busy day, which I'm sure you've seen on Facebook in the last 24 hours. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. You know, I like to wear a couple of hats. My main job is I work for a place called Last Door Recovery Center, and it's a youth and adult addiction treatment program. You know, it saves a lot of lives, and I do their community development. We're a unique organization. We do lots of community engagement, and it just keeps the idea that recovery is possible, attainable, and sustainable. And we just inspire new people to want to come here, and we inspire our guys like life is amazing. when you get clean and sober. So let's do this. And to do that, we need to do stuff. So, that's what started Clean, Sober, and Proud, which is one of the world's largest sober events during an official Pride event. It's not like this off the side AA dance that goes on in some places. It's like an actual Vancouver Pride event. It took us a lot of work to get that designation, and it started off small. Couldn't even get 80 people to go to it with free tickets. Like, it's just like, I don't want anyone to know I'm sober. And it was really weird. And it's turned into, this huge outreach event and a street party called Intoxicated. And the crowd's huge. So that's a lot of fun. And it really, the heart of that was always, I remember being I was young when I went to my first Pride. I was like 16. I remember being 16 years old and going to Pride and not seeing anything that had anything to do that didn't involve liquor or drugs. And trust me, I did a lot of liquor and drugs at the age of 16. And at that time, it was a really good time. But the goal always was to have this vision of something different. And a few years ago we got that, and it said Clean, Sober, and Proud at the corner of Davie and Butte, which is the center of the gay village, and that's probably the best part of everything, plus all the stories. So I do Clean, Sober, and Proud. Darren and I do Talk Recovery Radio, 7 years of shows, hundreds of guests, thousands of listeners. I'm the chair of Recovery Day BC, and voila, that's turned into a story about Recovery Day that I like to share. We couldn't even get 20 service providers to get together and be part of Recovery Day. At 2019, our last in-person event pre-COVID, we had 150 information booths. I mean, that didn't just happen. Like, people weren't like, hey, I want to go to Recovery Day. Like, we had naloxone training, abstinence programs, religious programs, CBD programs, controlled alcohol drinking programs, all in one space. And I'm saying that because we're going to talk about the petition in a bit. It took years to get us all into one space, and that was a lot of work, and it was beautiful. Like, people had to build trust to be like, hey, I remember the alcohol drinking program. Are you sure you want us there? And it's just like, well, some people get well with controlled drinking, eh? So if you can drink, go ahead. If you can't, stop, So that was a really big deal. And just remember the story. What else do I do, Darren? Oh, my recovery plan. We are launching a movement. Go to the website, myrecoveryplan.ca. We want every Canadian to get their recovery capital assessed in Canada to help them overcome addiction. This idea of just treating addiction physically with medication and psychologically with medication, your doctor understands your addiction, was a big ad campaign in the States for years. That has to stop. We have to stop that. We need to deal with the whole person. The doctor is very important, but he's not at the top of the pyramid. We need doctors, holistic approaches, everything all on the same level, because it's the entire person that needs help, including family. And that's what building recovery capital is all about. I got introduced to that 4 years. We started the Recovery Capital Conference. 7,000 healthcare providers have attended in the past 4 years. And this year we launched the software that measures recovery capital. So if you're listening and you're like, what is that? It's the new harm reduction. So please visit it. And we are hoping to have 100 treatment centers using my recovery plan by the end of 2022. It will be the world's largest research project on bed-based services ever taken, on how we improve health outcomes with people that are bed-based services. And a little intro to Better app, launching a new app probably next week. It's called Better, and you can go to betterapp.ca to see a preview of it. It's an overdose prevention tool where you can have peer monitors assist you if you're using drugs, but it's also a recovery app where people in recovery, both harm reduction and recovery worlds in one space, helping each other. And the goal is people that are still using drugs, if they use this app, they will be introduced to some hope on the recovery walls, but also people in recovery relapse. And this is a place where they can stay connected to the recovery community and maybe have somebody who's volunteering in the app to be their peer monitor. So take a look for that. That's coming out. what's going on for Recovery Day and all that this month?
Yeah, I last year you guys totally just pivoted and created this incredible online party. Like it was just so,
It
so
was fun.
cool.
It was a lot of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I
Darren was
bet.
there.
I
It was a lot
can't
of work. Yeah.
imagine.
It
Oh
was a
my God,
team
it was
show.
amazing.
We had Malcolmore,
Yes.
you know, with his courageous story. Nobody knew that he had relapsed. And he's like, Darren, you tell the story. I mean, it was beautiful. You were on stage with him.
I mean, that's, it's not what you planned for, you know. You know, we were expecting, you know, this entertainer and this, you know, celebrity in that sense, right? To, you know, because he's got influence, right? And people listen, and you know, we started talking to him, and I was kind of looking like where is he sitting, you know? And he was sitting bedside, you know, like just, and it was, he was about to go onto this story, you know, around his truth, and you know, he just said, you know what, like it's moments like this where people need to hear the truth, and he got vulnerable. And I mean, I remember lighting up, like just the courage and the risk that it took, and what it would have done to somebody that was as afraid, you know, to say that I've been struggling, or to say that I relapsed, or to say, you know, that I need help, and you know, I messed up. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, any type of situation that allows for that. I mean, you can't even plan, but you just hope, like, you know, like this, like you just hope that someone out there that has been quiet and depressed and lonely and wondering all of these things, like that you don't just have to go, you know, to treatment, or that you don't just have to, you know, do these specific things because that's what I did. It's just like, here, just question yourself, you know, has it been enough? Like, we're just going to do it for a day. Can we just do it for a day? And you know, share our stories. And yeah, like every day has been amazing and fun for me. I spent today ripping around a rainy go-kart track with my 5-year-old beside me, you know, like and I didn't think that, like, I'm doing this for this show. It's just something I do now,
Yeah.
you know. And but I thought about us, and I couldn't get my video out to film us, but you know, like that's what I get to do. It's so far from, you know, being stuck and loaded and you know, hurting and all of that. Like just being able to be present. So it's
Yeah.
a gift. Yeah.
That's incredible. And you're going to be speaking at Mother or Father's Recovery Society as well, right? Or Dad's Recovery Society, I think it is.
Yeah.
I'll get the
Yeah.
name right one of these times.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's there's so many amazing groups out there. It's wonderful. So right now we've got planned Recovery Month in September.
Yes, let's talk about
We
that.
don't know. There's COVID. So we've got in-person events, we've got hybrid events, and we've got just virtual event plans. And we just don't know what to kill on, you know, do the kill switch on and the go switch. Hopefully by the middle of June, you know, we'll know a little bit more what's going on. And, you know, thankfully we've got some experience, you know, putting these things on, so we can do it. But we just don't know yet. Pride does have some events planned. We plan on doing a clean, sober, and proud event in collaboration with the Vancouver Pride Society. They're doing these events in parks all over the city. So instead of everybody congregating in one space, everyone's spread out. So you can go to vancouverpride.ca for information on that. And we'll have some updates on cleansoberandproud.com with what we're doing and where we are. So that's still being worked out. So we're trying to do the best that we can, and we'll have some information. So recoverydaybc.ca is the website you can go for what's going on for Recovery Day, and all of our Facebook pages. But it's difficult times to create that energy of unity during COVID, but something miraculous has happens when like through online we've been able to maintain that. And I was talking to a friend the other day who isn't in recovery, and she just thought, that we were all really struggling. And I said, you know what, like, we're there for each other. Like the treatment center I work at, like, they don't know the 300 person meetings I used to go to in New West. But they got their own recovery journey that they love, and it's just, recovery can happen when you're looking for it. So that's amazing. And I can't not want to, like, I have to talk about what happened in the last 24 hours, if I may. We launched Recovery Day BC launched a petition yesterday. It's got about 700 signatures, I think, in less than 10 hours or so. It's really important. Go to recoverydaybc.ca, and there's a link so you can find it, because the petition web link is way too long. But recoverydaybc.ca. And I've been on stakeholder meet. I've talked to you guys about this on shows before when I was able to be on your show a long time ago. And, in the world of social media, people think I'm crazy. Sometimes it's like, oh, you're a conspiracy theory. It's like, no, I'm telling you, there's this underground narrative happening in healthcare when it comes to addiction, that bed-based treatment is the evil predator, and that treatment doesn't work, and the only thing that works is safe supply, harm reduction. And everyone's like, oh no, that's, we support each other. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, man, I go to stakeholder meetings. There's some, like the abstinence community who did a lot of harm years ago, saying harm reduction didn't work. And I think for the most part, we've repaired that, where I don't know many people that offer abstinence supported treatment that don't support all pathways to recovery. But we still got work to do there. But the other day, this leader in the healthcare industry and interior health publicly went on the news saying addiction treatment's ineffective. It shouldn't be offered. It's stigmatizing and just all this nasty stuff, and it's ineffective. And interior health will not be encouraging people to participate in bed-based services.
Why would he even
like,
want to
hello?
say that?
I'm just baffled.
Yeah.
I obviously I got right behind it. As soon as you post, I think I was
Yeah.
third person posting on it.
Yeah.
Stop.
Can you imagine if
Killing
she would
somebody.
have said insight is ineffective and we shouldn't offer it as a solution to overdoses?
Ooh.
She'd be fired in a second.
Right?
But because she said, treatment doesn't work, it's like, it's become the new norm. And we can't let that happen. So if you've been to treatment, if your loved one's been to treatment, we can't let this happen. Like, it's because if she says it, someone else is going to say it, and it becomes the norm. And it's finally out, this negative, like, darkness that's in addiction healthcare, because everything works. And you know what? I come from a place, if you want to be on safe supply in an SRO for the rest of your life, you know what? Go ahead. But if you want to get clean, you shouldn't be walking into an employee of a health authority that says, hey, treatment doesn't work, go back to your SRO. That's what this is about. So think about it. Like it's a big issue. When I went to treatment, years ago, the doors open and people told me treatment was, a good option. And now we're slowly going into this place where people are saying treatment doesn't work. So if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. And please sign the petition. It's a big deal. There's everything in there on what we want. And
Yeah, the petition was actually put in the comments, so thank you so much. And we've had people saying, whoa, I went to treatment, it saved my life. Like, it changes people's life, it saves people's life. I wish I went to treatment sometimes, because you just get a break. Like, there's a lot of ways to recover, but sometimes you really need that time to yourself. Like, a bed-based treatment, I think, is a beautiful thing to offer. I don't even understand why someone would bother saying something like that. Like, is it money or...
Yeah,
Yeah.
follow the money trail, I'm sure, because I mean, I'm not one that went to actual treatment, residential treatment. I wish. I look at women that go now or anybody that goes, I'm just like, take the time. I can't even remember what it was like my first year. I mean, 3 months or 30 days, I promise you, you're not going to remember, but you will remember all the joys and the fun that comes from that work you're doing right now. But whatever pathway that you choose is really just important that you're choosing a pathway, period. You know, where you're going to end up, we don't know. That's going to be your personal journey. But to have anybody, especially in a public figure like that, to come out publicly and deny an access or a route for somebody to take is just, we've got to stop it. So please, anybody that's out there, please go to the petition, sign it.
I don't know about you too, but like when I was in active addiction, I would use any excuse to not get help. So that's kind of giving permission to these people that need help to be like, oh, well, it doesn't work. I'm not even going to try, right? Like that's just such a weird message to want to have out there.
It is.
And I mean, I've been guilty myself, you know, that natural bias that occurs from what I went through and what worked for me is like what everybody's got to do. And it's just sad, like when I think and look at Recovery Day and 150 different forms of resources, like why each one of those resources, everything available, isn't like just asking a few questions to the individual that approaches them, like, you know, what do you want, and you know, what's your life like right now? Okay, well, maybe you need to go talk to those guys, you know, down the road there, a few spots over. Like, it's just like, no, don't go see them, they don't work, we're the thing that works. That's got to stop.
It's got to stop, because nobody, I mean, I've been in long-term recovery, and I'm telling, I'm not the same person I was even 2 years ago. I'm picking up things. I'm coming out loud with my recovery, kind of throwing anonymous out the freaking door. But, you know, if you threw, we don't know where that person's going to be led to. This is a lifetime walk that we take being in recovery, healing from mental health and addiction issues. So if that's where my first step is, whatever that pathway is, or whoever you are out there, let's embrace that and support them. You don't know if they're going to all of a sudden come on your side of the bench one day. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, maybe they'll go over here. But the fact that someone's actually taking efforts, we need to support that. We need to embrace them wherever pathway you're at. Let's love, let's just support. That's what this is. That's what you guys are doing. That's why I'm telling you, Just for 24, the heart of what we're doing here is married with Recovery Days, because that's including all pathways here. You're not excluded. This is a family. We don't care where you've come from, what you're doing. If you're an ally, supporter, we want you. And this is how we're going to grow. We got to work together with each community to bond. Definitely. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now.
I know. I mean, I'm not disillusioned enough to think that, you know, because I don't drink or use, that, you know, this problem isn't going to occur with my kids. Like, it's not just a being around using that creates an addict. Like, it's you know, a disconnection. It's depression. It's not knowing yourself. It's so many things. And to think that one day, whatever the issue is, but let's just say the most problematic thing is a substance, that the only first and only option at that point is a safer supply or a safe place to use that drug, period. Yeah. And it stops there. Like, no way. Like, I want my kids, I want our next generation to be met with where they're at, given safe supply, if that's going to slow their chaotic life down a little bit, but then, you know, reassess and meet them again and say, is there anything more now that you could use, or any other options that you think you would succeed at? Like, let's give our citizens everything. And to think that people in our government are saying that and only this, yeah,
it's crazy. Even the 12-step community, I mean, they're like, 12 steps the only way. Well, I don't know about you. I've been 12-step, and it wasn't just 12-step. I did a lot of other stuff. I had years of counseling and outside issues. So, you know, and
we've gone from do the steps or die to do harm reduction or die, and the pendulum has just gone, and we need to like go back in the middle, and it's just do what you want to do. We'll help you do it. I mean, I believe in motivational interviewing. We shouldn't make that illegal. It's like, if you're coming to a service and you want help, obviously there's going to be some motivational interviewing going on and suggestions. And if you don't want to do any of that, then go somewhere else, you know. But what we're doing is we've got these Should I be nice, Darren?
Well, actually, you want to know something?
We got people that are trying to put us all into one box in this multifaceted disease that needs multiple approaches. We can't fit in this box. Like this is what this place does. This is what that place does. And just make sure that people can transition from those pathways. That's how they do it in Portugal, and they've done a really good job of it. We've been telling this to the former Minister of Health, for forever, and it just seems like nobody can come up with a way that all pathways are respected, and that's why we're in an overdose crisis. Can you imagine a mom who's never been to has no uncle that's in AA, like just a mom who's like completely, like my kid's smoking heroin, like she goes to Google and she sees this ad and it's like, oh, treatment doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that, because honestly, this whole day, as you know, last year, Giuseppe, and thank you for coming again. You're our heart. I'm just so grateful that you helped us close the show. But talking about everything that we're talking about, this is a lethal issue. There is an opiate crisis. There's a suicide crisis. There's a mental health crisis, and people are dying. Just for 24 is also all about memory of the people that are left. And we're going to take a moment of silence now of 1 minute to remember all those ones that have lost the battle and the families that are left with the grieving. So can we take 1 minute, please, now? Thank you. A long minute to think of the people,
Okay, let's change. This event really is about having fun and showing people that recovery is not boring, sober is not boring, that you don't need a substance to make you anything. Like, healing is there. Let's bring the vibe up a little bit. So what are you guys doing? What are you offering that help people connect and find joy in recovery? I know Recovery Days is one of those things. What can people do to kind of get connected and have fun, especially in a pandemic? Either one.
Oh, you're muted, Giuseppe.
Sorry about that. There we go. It's amazing what you can do online. You can join meetings anywhere in the world, even join meetings that kind of don't even speak English. And oh, there we go. We got some bubbles, blow bubbles in your house. But definitely staying connected with people. Like, don't use COVID as an excuse to not be connected with people, whether virtually and we've all got our own bubbles and all that kind of stuff. Bubbles. Oh, it is a bubble. Yeah. We've all got our own bubbles of people that we hang out with, and but to be honest with you, it's like, have a purpose. Like, having just a job and having just bills is not, I mean, it's obviously have that, but like I tell people, you have to have purpose. Like, I've spent, so many hours. It's not my job to do a petition, but you have this avenue. What are you going to do with it? And some of us put on events, like you see, but some of us just, answer the phone and help somebody. And it's all just equally as important and everything. And sometimes I'm not able to do some things because I've got other chaotic things happening. But, I get inspired by watching somebody just talking to a new guy, telling him it's going to be okay. And being there in the conversation. Like, that's what recovery taught me. Before I got to recovery, like, I don't know about you guys, but like you couldn't rely on me. Let's put it that way. I was you know, I had my stuff together, but you couldn't rely on me when it came to heart to heart. And now I try my best. I mean, I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, you know, but I've got people, I bring things up for review. You know, I was talking to a reporter this morning from the Vancouver Sun, and it was just a really crazy morning with this petition thing. And I just took I'm like, am I being crazy? You know, I don't like talking to this reporter, and she's just on the other line. She starts chuckling and she's like, you know, because I don't want to end up, and I'll say this, I don't want to end up being one of those God hates fags guys with a sign next to the Pride Parade against what everyone's doing. But I'm just like, am I insane? Like, the emperor's not wearing any clothes. Like, this woman said this. Like, this is crazy. And it is a big deal. And you know what? That's one thing I learned. And then I'll let some others talk. Make everything a big deal. Everything a big deal. Everything a big deal. You know, someone's birthday, somebody's having a kid, you have a nephew, like, make it all a big deal. Because I didn't make those things big deals. I made one thing a big deal. That was buying dope. And now I try to make everything else a big deal. So that's how you have fun. And it just happens, because you never know by participating where you're gonna be. And when you participate, you'd like have fun. So if you just stay home and kind of wallow as a victim, oh, COVID, I can't do anything, well, nothing's fun gonna happen. So try to participate in things virtually, on the phone, and when we can do it in person.
So amazing.
Definitely.
I think sometimes it's like I sit, you know, and I hear something like this, and I'm like, I'm going to drive to Penticton, and you know what I mean? Because there's this feeling of like, gotta do something, but then part of me goes, but Giuseppe's going to do the thing, so I'll just wait for him. But then I think a lot of us, I mean, I come from a place of seeing where the problem is, you know, just, you know, never mind my business, you know, and not being somebody that, like I said, that preaches the hill that I'm standing on as right and the only way. That, I mean, I've spent a lot of time not having a career or a 9-to-5 to sort of feed that purpose in my life, and, you know, question a lot, like who am I? Because people often ask, what do you do? You know, I mean, I raise kids. Yeah, like, that's kind of a big deal, but
that's a huge deal.
You know,
huge.
More than that, it's knowing how much I can actually influence positivity, and whether I feel like I'm a nice person, or, you know, or I'm doing it just to feel better. I'm doing it because I'm in a program. That is my purpose. When I step out the door, when I'm in my car, I'm looking for people to let in, to you know, they're just sitting there waiting to be let in, like waiting for the space to occur. I'll let them in, like just smiling at people and beginning conversations. Like, it's too much to think that we're stuck at home and this, you know, this weird way of life that we're growing accustomed to, but we're becoming depressed, we're becoming suicidal, we're becoming aggressive. And I just know that anytime I leave my house, I have opportunities galore, whether it's picking up trash and like down the street. Like, I'm not the person that's going to look at a problem and think that's not mine anymore, whether it's a piece of trash or a person struggling, like nodding off on the park bench. Like, I'm, as much as I'm uncomfortable sometimes and I don't want to do it, this is the point of my life, that why I'm clean, why I'm here now, isn't just to raise kids. It's to like raise, you know, some energy, no matter where I go. And it's part of our show, and it's, you know, it's part of the program, and it's part of life. But I mean, it's part of so much. Like, there's people right here on this show watching this, like I said, that, you know, might not need to do what I did, right? But there's people in my life right now that hit a wall. They question themselves. And I was someone, because I shared who I was and what I went through, that they just chatted with. And I didn't convert them. but they made enough change in their life by reaching out themselves, and it's them. They did it, right? So if this invokes anybody to just go to someone and start that conversation, then it's enough. And that's the vehicle I want to be, is just the available one.
Oh my gosh, this has been so amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming here. We're just about to close up the show and do some of our last giveaways, so stick around if you're in the comments, but we're gonna let you guys go. And
thank you.
This was just such a great day.
Thanks for having us.
Just keep being the light, Giuseppe. I know the battles, I mean, what we went through this week, we'll probably talk about that in a podcast later, but I'm telling you, the enemy doesn't want these messages out. So again, as we've said last year, keep going, please.
Sign the petition, recoverydaybc.ca, and see you at our events, hopefully. Take care, everyone, and happy 424.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.